Oh, baby. Here, a late Wednesday night after another back-to-back, fifth back-to-back of the season for the Golden State Warriors and the second on this road trip. And they finish a road trip at 3-3, which we'll dive into here before moving forward with this upcoming homestand that starts on Friday with the Portland Trail Blazers. But that is Monte Poole, our Warriors insider, two-time Emmy Award winner, Hall of Famer here in the NBC Sports Bay Area. I am Bonta Hill, and we're, as always, the Dub Talk podcast, always brought to you by the Black Friday sale at Mancini Sleep World. That's right. Our good friends at Mancini Sleep World have this Black Friday sale on, Monty, and it's on and popping. Look, savings up to $1,200 on top of mattress brands. Plus, for the first time ever, they're having 14 days of deals starting on November 14th, which is about 5 days ago. Of course, so hurry up and get there. Recliners, pillows, bedding, sofas. You got it all at Mancini Sleep World right now. So go ahead and shop sleepworld.com. That is sleepworld.com. Monty, Warriors, they begin the trip with the blowout in Oklahoma City. Getting blown out, I should say. Drastic changes made by the head coach. We had Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler speak out. They sweep San Antonio in two riveting games, led by Seth Curry, averaging over 47.5 in those basketball games. They beat up on the Pelicans, which is not hard to do for many NBA teams right now. And then they go to Florida and go over. Now, the Miami game, concerning who all sat out, kind of looked at it as like, okay, that may be an L. But it was the Orlando game that the Warriors just could not gain control of. And the bugaboo that's been the case all season long, especially on this road trip, are the turnovers. We saw it in the fourth quarter against Miami, in the second half against Miami, I should say, where they committed 15 turnovers, 7 alone in the fourth quarter. They gave up 14 points off the turnovers alone in the final frame, 34 points overall, Monty. That I want to start there. They have to take better care of the basketball, man. It's just sometimes it sounds simple. We always harp on it, but it's destroying this team, and it's why they're 9-8 right now.
Bonte, how many years have we been talking about turnovers with this team?
Ever since we started working together.
Okay. Going back, even when they were a great team, going to the finals every year, turnovers were an issue. But then they were so good, so potent, it didn't matter. And plus, they played great defense. This team is playing okay defense, but they're not good enough to overcome giving away points to the other team. They're just not good enough. And you go into the game in Miami, and they have a 2-point lead going to the fourth quarter. Chance for an upset.
Yep.
Which it would have been. And they give them 16 points in the fourth quarter. 16.
Was it 16? I had it at 14, but my math may be off.
16.
You went to San Jose State. I went to San Francisco State, so I heard your math report a little bit better.
It was 9 turnovers and 16 points for the Heat.
Wow.
Now, the Heat won the fourth quarter by how many points? 16. There you have it. So, and it doesn't matter who's out there, because generally you like Draymond, Steph, cut down the turnovers, right? Jimmy lately has been turning the ball over more than he normally does. None of those three guys played tonight, and still turnovers came back to bite the Warriors. So having talked about this for so many years, having Steve Kerr come in the door saying that's one thing we really got to work on, having Jimmy Butler come to the Warriors and say, I hate turnovers. And here we are, a whole new year, 17 games in, talking about what?
Turnovers.
So, I mean, at what point does this get addressed with the sincerity that it needs to be addressed? I mean, only one team, and that's the Dallas Mavericks, are the only team in the NBA that commits more turnovers, and it's less than 0.1% difference.
Mm-hmm.
The Warriors are literally 29th in terms of turnovers, 17.1. The Mavericks are 17.1 too, but there's a fraction lower. So they may have committed 2 or 3 more turnovers. I mean, 2 or 3 more turnovers on the year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not a formula for winning. No. You're turning the ball over more than the Wizards, more than the Hornets.
It's not good, Monty.
And so you look at this game against the Heat, and the Warriors shot terribly. 36%, 26% from 3. But they played defense, and they hustled their tails off and it was enough to offset everything they did wrong until they decided, okay, now we get to the fourth quarter. Let's start throwing the ball over people's heads and let's start throwing the ball to the Heat. You can't win if you shoot poorly and give the other team points off turnovers. It doesn't work against any team. And so if they don't fix this problem, they can't even begin to call themselves a contender.
No, hell no. I mean, turnovers in the Warriors right now go together like peanut butter and jelly. I mean, it's a match made in heaven. And you think about the Orlando game or hell. I mean, the Orlando game, they commit 18 turnovers. Orlando has 14 steals. And then not only do they turn the ball over and other teams score off those turnovers, but the points in the paint are starting to become a problem as well. They're dead last in points in the paint per game. They average 40 points in the paint per game. That's dead last in the NBA. And then the point differential when it comes to giving up points in the paint, as opposed to scoring when it comes to points in the paint, they're 29th in the league. And that may have went up. Miami had 20 points in the paint in the fourth quarter alone, Monty. A lot of them off those turnovers. But they went to the fourth quarter tied with points in the paint, 28-28. And Miami had Bam Adebayo rolling. He came back. Khalil Ware is a problem. He's a long 7-1. He kind of looks like Wemby in a way, a poor man's Wemby. I mean, Andrew Wiggins could get up there and get to the paint. And the Warriors were holding their own, Monty. And then the fourth quarter happens. And so to me, although we discussed this, if they had gone 3-3 in this road trip, I think we both would have said, you know what, that's a win. You stabilize the season, went 3-3. Yeah, no doubt. And you snapped your losing streak on the road. But they had a chance to get greedy going into Orlando. And Steve Kerr rolled the dice with all the veterans in that Orlando game, especially after a day off after beating the Pelicans. And that's where I look at the Pelicans game, where you can start to see those habits forming again. They were terrible with the ball against the Pelicans. Mm-hmm. At one point, the Pelicans cut it to 5. Mm-hmm. And against a team that don't really know how to play basketball. They don't have a head coach right now. They fired Willie Green. I guess James Borrego, you could say he's a coach. He coached the Hornets, but they had those problems in Charlotte. The Warriors were turning the ball over in that basketball game, giving the Pelicans a little bit of hope. Those habits kept forming, and you see it in the wins where they're just throwing the ball away. And that leads to easy buckets for the other team. That leaves a big discrepancy when it comes to points in the paint. So they're making it hard on themselves. You know, when a team doesn't have that point of attack defender either, and teams are already blowing by you left and right, they actually play some solid defense early on, but turnovers, falling behind by 16 points, you can't continue like this, Monty. They'll find themselves under 500 by next Friday.
Yeah, the hardest thing to overcome is live ball turnovers. You can't defend them because it means, in the Orlando game, Franz Wagner got a breakaway layup, a dunk, because he was down there by himself. Mm-hmm. Live ball turnover, zip, 70-foot pass, dunk at a crucial time, crucial turnover. So when you look at the way they have played this season, they're 8-0.
Yep.
Undefeated when they commit the same or fewer turnovers than their opponent.
Mm-hmm.
When they're equal or fewer, they're 1-8. 1-8.
Yeah. What's their record when they commit more turnovers, Monty, than the opposing team? Say it again for the people in the back.
1-8.
Oh my gosh!
And so it feels repetitive because we talk about turnovers all the time. It seems
all the time.
And you mentioned points in the paint. Yeah, turnovers can play a part in that for sure. But also, let's face it, the roster is not built to compile points in the paint. Who are the best finishers? Kuminga's out right now. He's probably the best finisher.
Yep.
Trace can catch a lob every now and then, but teams look for that. QP is not much of an inside force. Al is more of is a floor spacer. So they don't have a brute in the paint that can go in there and muscle up and get points. That's how they're built.
Yep. And
I don't know how they can change that between now and the trade deadline, unless, again, they make a move. And, again, Kuminga is, they tried to trade him before, so there could be an attempt again before, sometime between now and the deadline. Well, not now, but as we get closer to the deadline. And so you look at this roster and you see the shortcomings, literally. It's a short roster. It's an old roster. And as we've said before, it's kind of a slow roster in many ways.
You kind of took the words out of my mouth. Every matchup they go into, even against the Pelicans, they are at an athletic disadvantage at multiple spots, multiple positions, athletically. Now, they have the IQ with Jimmy, Steph, Draymond, no doubt about that. But collectively, the IQ at times isn't there, and the athleticism. All right? So you're short, you're slow, you don't have the rim protection, and you're at an athletic disadvantage on most nights. That's a recipe for disaster, as we just mentioned. And so the deadline will be interesting for the Golden State Warriors because they want to give one more roll of the dice to Steph and Curry. They want to have a try to create a puncher's chance in the playoffs and maybe make some magic happen like last season when they advanced to the second round. But right now in the West, when you got big and athletic teams like the Houston Rockets, the Denver Nuggets, even though they match up a little bit with Denver because they don't play as fast, but they have a Joker problem, and we saw that a couple Fridays ago.
They have an Aaron Gordon problem too,
and the Aaron Gordon card, who's their most athletic player. Yeah. He's a problem. And then you think about Oklahoma City, who just wiped the floor with the Golden State Warriors, and they're wiping everybody. I mean, 15-1, they're 7-0 at home. They look like a team that may win 70 games if they stay healthy. Yeah. They just welcome Lou Dort back, and they haven't had Jalen Williams all season long. They can tell Jalen Williams come back in the All-Star break. That's how deep they are. I mean, you don't even talk about them right now. So, yes, when it comes to the trade deadline, you look ahead because I'm even looking at Brendan Podziemski tonight, right? He scores 20 points, but it was an ugly 20. 20 points on 19 shots.
Yeah.
20 points on 19 shots. And that leads me to Pat Spencer. He's on a two-way contract. We know he's one of the most accomplished lacrosse players in the history of lacrosse. But what I saw from Pat Spencer tonight, he changed that basketball game against Miami. They were down 20-4, and they missed their first 12 shots. Pat Spencer entered the game and changed the energy of the entire game. And he messed around and almost dropped a triple-double, Monty. 13 assists tonight. 13 assists. 8 turnovers. 8 rebounds. 11 points, and only 2 turnovers. That's right, folks. 2 rebounds shy of a triple-double with only 2 turnovers. And he played his ass off. Yeah. And you know what else? It's not just the assists. It's not just the points or the rebounds. He was scrapping, diving all over the floor. It's his decision-making. And when he's out there running the point guard position, Monty, he looks like a legit floor general. He's moving it. 0.5, boom. 2 dribbles, I'm moving it. It's going side to side. Shooters are walking into their shots. I don't see that right now with Brendan Podziemski. He gets in the paint, and he gets lost to the sauce. Almost goes into no man's land. You know what I'm saying? It got off to an ugly start. So it's doing too much. Dribbling the air out of the basketball at times. Pat Spencer deserves some more minutes. So if we want to talk about alleviating turnovers, well, Pat Spencer, I'm looking at the roster right now. He played 32 minutes against the Miami Heat. 2 turnovers. Making great decisions tonight. So hopefully that earns him some time in the future. But maybe that'll push Pods to be a little better when it comes to handling the basketball. But you know what? Pat Spencer, man, I was impressed tonight against Miami.
No, he played really well. Pat, he can sometimes get lapse into, let me get mine kind of thing where he decides he's going to go one-on-one. And I ISO Pat, I call it, and that's not a good thing for the Warriors. But on the whole, and against the Heat, he was their best player. He was their best player against the Heat. QP shot the ball well. Yep. But Pat Spencer was their best overall player. And so, he should be pushing Pods. When you look at the way he plays and what he brings to the group, I know the veterans of the team, like him. And Pat, the other thing about Pat is that he brings grit every single second he's on the floor.
Yep.
Every single second. Yep. And so there are nights when this team is missing that. And those are nights when you say, we've seen these games, especially going back to Milwaukee and at Indiana, where it's like, where's the passion?
Yep.
And you don't have to, with Pat, you get that every time.
Yep. No doubt.
He comes on the floor, it's like, I mean business. Watch me go. Like I'm shot out of a cannon or something.
And he talks that talk, Monty. He'll talk that talk and he'll scrap with somebody.
Oh, yeah.
He's no punk. He'll get in somebody's face. He'll talk some trash like you mentioned. I don't know how sustainable it is. But watching him compared to Brendan Podziemski, Pat Spencer ran that team like a true point guard tonight against Miami. He ran that team. Just getting the ball out of his hand saying, hey, I'm moving it.
Steve Kerr and his staff, they don't look at Brandon like a backup point guard. They see him in sort of a hybrid guard role.
Right.
The problem that they have with Brandon, and that's, to me, I think they have a little bit of a blind spot here, is that he doesn't give you much point of attack defense.
Mm-hmm.
He can play make a little bit, but his playmaking is usually more like the hockey assist.
Yep.
Which is okay. That's fine too. That's good too. But the other thing is that, like you mentioned earlier, he dribbles into trouble.
Yep.
And it's like conspicuous, like, dude, what are you doing? Kind of thing. And so tonight in this game against the Heat, he goes 6 of 19 from the field. And I would say probably 3 or 4 of those shots didn't need to be taken, So, I don't know. I don't see the Warriors doing anything dramatic with Pat and Pods right now, but it's something to keep an eye on if Pods comes into games playing like he did against the Heat.
You got an athletic team coming in on Friday with the Portland Trailblazers, and we already witnessed what Portland can do. Although it came in on the back end of a back-to-back, after the Warriors beat the Nuggets in overtime, they ran the Warriors off the court, off the floor, and turnovers was a bugaboo in that basketball game. So looking at, so overall, and I want to get your thoughts on this because we haven't discussed this yet between you and I. And we're going to get to some mailbag questions, by the way. We got a lot of questions from the fans out there, Monty, so we'll read some questions.
Cool.
We appreciate everybody who sent us some questions to the Dubs Talk mailbag. But quick thoughts on the schedule. 17 games in 30 days. 5 back-to-backs. The Rockets haven't had 1 back-to-back yet.
No.
The schedule's been kind of insane. Now, would we be pointing this out if they didn't have an older roster? Not sure about that. But what's your overall thoughts? What's your overall thoughts about the schedule and all the injuries? Because we were discussing it on the pregame show today. Over 200 game stars have missed so far this season. That's not good. Wemby's out for 3 weeks. Castle's out for 1 to 2. We know about the injuries on the Golden State Warriors. Soft tissue injuries, calf strains, hamstrings. They've got the best medicine we've ever had, right? Modern medicine. They travel very well these days. It's not like back in the day when Mully was getting on flights, playing 4 games in 5 nights. They've done a good job of load managing their players. What the hell is going on with the injuries? And is there anything they can do about it? Because I hear people saying extend the schedule, extend the calendar, I should say. Sure, take away some games. Well, the owners and the players are not going to do that. No. That means taking money out of their pocket. Yeah. They're past that. They're going to get their 82 games, the owners. They're going to get their 41 home games, and the players are going to get every single dime that they sign on the dotted line for. So what's the solution, Monty?
Yeah, there's no way that I can ever imagine players and owners saying, you know what, let's play 72 games. Because that's like 10% cut, a 10% cut in revenue. And so, now you have these TV contracts you're into. They want their 82. They want their 82. Now, the idea of flexing the schedule out and maybe starting a week earlier, that could cut down your back-to-backs.
Yeah.
Even if it's just 7 days earlier.
Yep.
That can cut down on, maybe instead of, people having 11 and 12 and 13 and 14 back-to-backs, maybe it's more like 9 or 10, which is tough, but it's not 14. And it's not 5 in the first month. That's insane. That's insane to me. 5 back-to-backs in the first month. But the Warriors have kind of been lucky.
Yeah.
None of their guys have been down for a lot more than a game. Seth got sick. Wasn't an injury. He missed 3 games. Draymond has played most every game, but, got a little rest.
Yep.
He's ill. Jimmy had a little back issue. Okay. So when you look at the vets on this team, they're holding up pretty well so far. We already knew coming in that Al was going to play only one night on the back-to-back set.
Yep.
And that's going to be the same all year, no matter how he feels. That's going to be how they manage him. So they've been kind of lucky in that they haven't lost. They haven't had LeBron, like the Lakers were without LeBron for the first month.
Yep.
You look at like the Bucks, Giannis is in, Giannis is out.
Ja Morant.
Yeah. Ja Morant in, Ja's out. Jalen Brunson just returned to the Knicks.
Yep. Bam Adebayo just returned tonight for the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
Tyler Hero hasn't even played.
Yeah, and Wemby, we don't know when Wemby will be back. The Dallas, I mean, we don't know when Anthony Davis will be back. I mean, so there's
Anthony Davis, real quick, money. I think AD's played like 16 games with the Mavericks.
Yeah,
I mean, like it's unbelievable.
yeah, but I mean, you know, when you have Anthony Davis on your roster, you know it's kind of like Zion who came back. you know, there's gonna be games he won't be there for you. You know that. Doesn't matter whether it's gonna be 10 or 15 or 20 or more. So you got to live with that. You got to live with if you want the good, you got to take the bad.
Yep.
And so, but to me, I think extending the schedule seems the most logical way to go because they don't want to give up those games. And I would start the season earlier rather than later, than have it go later. You know, rather than take into late June. I mean, late April, and then you got the finals going into late June, bumping into the draft.
I thought they had the perfect opportunity, the NBA that is. There's a lot of casuals who say, and I used to subscribe to this. The season doesn't start until Christmas. That's when we start playing some hoops, right? When that season, when they came back from the pandemic, and they opened 3 days before Christmas against the Brooklyn Nets, and then they played Milwaukee on Christmas, and we got the finals in late July, early August. Bucks Suns.
In summer, yeah.
I enjoyed it. I was in Tahoe during the finals, during the first couple games of the finals, and the bars were packed. We're all watching. The viewing habits have changed for us. We all have these things called cell phones. We can watch anywhere now. Laptops, we can watch anywhere. We can stream anywhere. And I just thought, man, you reset the calendar for a couple reasons. One, you don't run into football, right? You don't run into the NFL.
If you push it, if you add a week at the end, all you have is baseball.
All you have is baseball.
In hockey.
All you have is baseball and hockey.
Which by then is in the playoffs.
Right. And if you do start most of your games, that first month and a half is in January during the NFL playoffs. That's on the weekends. And you can stagger some of your marquee matchups for February, March, April, May, June, whatever it is.
Whoa. You're going to play regular season games in May?
Absolutely.
When are you going to start the season again in December?
We started late December. If you need to go through August, in the season in late August, guess what? NFL preseason's there. I'll go head up with the NFL preseason. Forget all that. Play in August. Forget summer league. Do winter league with basketball. Let them dudes play in the gym anyway. Go somewhere else. You know what I'm saying?
So you push draft back, and you push all the draft combines back, and everything just pushes back into deep summer.
Absolutely. I would do that. Because you don't.
You're not talking about adding 1 week at the beginning of the end. You're talking about pushing it back.
I'm talking about pushing the calendar back. You could add a week theoretically. You can maybe finesse the schedule because here's the other thing, Monty. I always loved the Premier League model, the soccer model in Premier League, where they play 2 games a week, big time games. Now in the NBA, you probably want to push that to 3 games.
And some weeks
you
4.
Hype those things up. You got your Saturday night game, you got your Friday night game. You could do it same way you're doing it now with the Peacock, Monday and Tuesday with NBC and Peacock. You got Amazon Fridays, you got ESPN on Thursday, whatever. You can still do that stuff. But then you have a point total, you have a point system, you get 3 points for a win, you get 0 points for a loss. And in overtime, instead of going to double overtime or triple overtime or quadruple overtime, you get 1 overtime period for 5 minutes. If you're tied, that's it. Just like hockey, you get a point for the tie. We keep it moving. People may not like that originally. We want wins and losses. But you know what? With less wear and tear. You're not guaranteed. You're guaranteed to play no more than 53 minutes in a basketball game. That's it. And then you could maybe stretch that calendar and maybe go another week. But I would go seriously. The last week of December started on Christmas and go all the way through August. And you go right up against that, right? You end the season right before the NFL starts. And then in baseball, they've got to deal with the NFL in September with their pennant race baseball. So, so you go right up there with the NFL starting at Labor Day weekend or the week after Labor Day weekend, I should say. So I don't know. I just think they need to flip the calendar and maybe lengthen the calendar as well with that. But when it comes to the injuries, I don't know what you can do to stop it, because even if you took away games, you say you went to 70 games, Monty, guys are still going to get hurt. Teams are still going to find
no
a way
matter
to
what
hold minutes these dudes.
there will be injuries no matter what you do. You can play 40 games a year and there will be injuries.
Yep.
But right now you're playing 82 and the pace of the game has never been faster.
Yep.
And so everybody wants to play fast. And that's bound to lead to soft tissue injuries, especially when you have as many back-to-backs as there are on people's schedule. The Warriors managed to get through 5 back-to-backs in the first month of the season without anybody popping a hammy.
Yeah.
Without anybody going down with a calf injury for a couple of weeks. So for them, first of all, I think Rick Celebrini and his staff are outstanding at what they do.
Yep.
They know bodies, they manage bodies, and I think they deserve a huge hand for being able to get the team through this stretch without anybody sustaining an injury that makes you go, oh no. and so I expect on Friday that everybody will be available except for, of course, Anthony Melton. It won't be back around. He won't be around until December.
Nope. And go ahead, Monty.
No, I said, but I think everybody else, the 4 guys who sat out in Miami, they'll be up. They'll be in. So they're in relatively good shape. And I think a lot of it is managing bodies, but yeah, the schedule's going to be tough. And the Warriors somehow managed to get through the toughest schedule in the league for the first month without having anybody go down with the soft tissue injury. Yeah. It's going to keep them down for a week or two or more.
All right, let's get to these mailbag questions before we end this episode, Monty. Great questions here. Since you brought up Melton, I'll start with J. Jimmy Baseball and Espaden Blanco _Blanco. I call him Mr. Blanco. Both of them asked, well, one, Jimmy Baseball said, we want Melton. When is he coming? And basically from Blanco, any update on DeAnthony Melton? And he's going to be reevaluated in 10 days.
Right.
But realistically, Monty, when will we see him on the basketball court in a Warriors uniform playing next to Stephen Curry?
December. Now, the question is whether it's the first week of December or the second week of December. But I'd say there's about a 90% chance that he's on the court before Christmas. And they're going to be careful with him, as they should. They will monitor his minutes when he first comes out. We know he's practicing with Santa Cruz. He's running scrimmaging with them, and so he will scrimmage some with the Warriors when they come home. They're home for 5 games, so they'll be around for more than a week, and he will work out with them a little bit too. And toward the end of the homestand, is when he'll get reevaluated and see where he is before they go on the road again. And so it's conceivable that he could be cleared before December 1st, but I still think it's going to be a week or two into December before he's cleared.
Yeah, mid-December sounds about right for DeAnthony Melton. SF Bay Drummer, what up, SF Bay Drummer? How soon will Seth Curry be able to join the Warriors? The bench needs scoring.
Especially with Buddy playing the way he's been playing lately.
4-15 from 3 tonight in Miami. Yeah. Not pretty. Not pretty.
Like you're saying, this is a dude who, go back to Game 7 in Houston, man. Buddy was lights out. 9 threes. Nobody's ever made 9 threes in a Game 7.
What about Game 1 against the Lakers?
Yeah.
Game 1 against the Lakers this year.
He made 5. So Buddy just, I don't know, man. He's not found any rhythm, and it shows. So he's not gonna. He's been a career 38 to 40% shooter from 3, and he's down in the 20s. So yeah, Seth Curry technically could join the Warriors in a matter of days, but probably more like a matter of weeks. They could push it back until close to the deadline, but I think that their planning is to have him back sometime. I still think they want to have him back sometime in November.
Yep.
And go with that, because you're right. They could use his shooting. He did lead the league in 3-point percentage last year.
Yeah. All right. The internet 5487. When is Mully coming back? We miss Mully. I miss Mully. Monty missed Mully. The entire staff misses Mully.
Yes.
He will be back. I don't want to spill too many beans here, but Billy and I talk every day. Right. He will be back soon. Trust me. He's watching every single show. He can't wait to kind of settle things down here around the set as Fezzi's running with the TikToks and Zena and I are singing with them. Mully will back. Hopefully, I thought he'd be back around this time. We're hoping hopefully next week against the Rockets.
Yeah,
maybe
I mean,
first week of December.
I think there was a chance he'll be back later this month before the month is out. Yeah,
no doubt.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
It will be great. How about this? How about this for a name? Warriors suck.
This sounds.
The Warriors make a trade. Warriors suck wants to know, will the Warriors make a trade? Well, they continue to hover around 500, and the turnovers continue to pile up. They're going to do what they can to help out Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond build a roster. So could there be movement with this roster? If you had to say over half a trade, because that's how Bovada would set the line.
Yeah.
I would say the Warriors are making a trade this season.
I would too.
I almost want to guarantee that they will make some sort of trade. Now, who's part of that trade package? I don't want to speculate. Yeah. I don't know, but I do believe that the Warriors will make a trade, Monte.
Yeah, I mean, last year, going for Jimmy told me and many others, I think, that, okay, you know what? We're serious about doing all we can to help Steph get another ring. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, if they're hovering around, they'll be at 20 games by Thanksgiving. And if they're 12-8, that means they won, okay, they pull some things together. Mm-hmm. But that's just the first quarter of the season. And if I know Joe Lacob and Mike Dunleavy, if the team is just, in the middle of the Western Conference pack in December, they're going to get a little antsy.
And they're going to make some phone calls.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. So they know this year, Al Horford, they got him for this year.
Yep.
I mean, they specifically got him for this year. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, they may extend him, but he's looking at this year because he came to the Warriors because, as he said, he thought it was the best chance to get a ring.
Yeah.
And so this is a 1-year thing. Steve Kerr's in the last year of his contract, and he ain't even looking at another year. He'll look at that at the end of this season, maybe. But right now, so the Warriors are putting all their chips into this year. And if they're looking at, if they get to January 1st, and they're like 4 games over 500, yeah, that's not a championship look. So they will probably do something. I mean, I'm pretty sure they will do something unless things get better, get appreciably better in the next month.
I'm with you there. All right. Last one, since you brought up Steve Kerr. I read this one from Ellen Day Sr., and we'll call it a wrap on this podcast, Monte. If Steve Kerr were suddenly let go, do you see the organization looking outside for a replacement or sticking with someone like Terry Stotts? Personally, I'd roll with Jerry Stackhouse. Now, I'll get the first crack at this one, Monte. I'll selfishly take this to begin. Steve Kerr's not going to get let go during the season unless all of a sudden they lost 20 in a row and he lost a lot. I don't anticipate that happening.
Right.
He'll get a chance to finish out the season. But afterwards, because you're right, he's not looking at next season. He's looking at this season. And if they don't accomplish the things that they set out to accomplish, which is at least getting back to the playoffs and doing some damage for the Western Conference playoffs, making a run, then I could see Steve Kerr saying, you know what, I've given it my all. Maybe time to just walk away. And a dark horse to me to become the coach wouldn't be on the staff. It wouldn't be Terry Stotts. It wouldn't be Jerry Stackhouse.
Uh-oh, drum roll.
Dark horse for me, and this is just me, just almost out of left field, seeing if it sticks. It's the guy we just talked to earlier this week.
I don't know you were going to say that.
You knew that?
I felt that coming.
Why? Todd Golden. Why'd you feel that coming? City roots, right? City roots.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows the area. His style of play in Florida, they go up and down. They played, that's one of the few college basketball teams I did watch last season because I was like, wow, who the hell is this scoring 90 in 40 minutes? Who is that? And they play an NBA style of basketball, NBA brand of basketball.
I do think that if Steve leaves at the end of the year, that they will look outside. I don't think that they would look at Terry Stotts or Jerry Stackhouse. And you look at the rest of the assistants there, and they've got a good staff there. They've got a good staff. Chris DeMarco may be going to the New York Liberty. That's he's in the mix for that job. So you look around, and I think they would try and find someone. You know, they when Joe Lacob first came in, they went after Mark Jackson, but it's a different time now. They went after Mark Jackson because the Warriors needed an identity,
credibility, right?
They needed, yeah. I mean, they were faceless. You know, nobody. Steph was young and still, making his way, and so they needed somebody to put them on the map, so to speak. And you hire Mark Jackson. Well, hell, everybody in the NBA knows Mark Jackson. Now. But the next hire is going to be different because he's not coming to a team with as much young talent right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, sad as I hate to say it, but it doesn't look good 3 or 4 years down the road with the roster they have right now. If Steph retires, you want to be competitive when Steph is gone. And right now, I don't see that happening with this roster. Yeah. So the next coach will have to be, again, unless there are some changes between now and the next year or two, will have to be someone who is willing to do some. I would say they probably would look at somebody like Mark Daigneault in OKC.
Try to pry him away from there.
Yeah, I mean, they would probably try that. I could see that. I don't know.
You may try, but he's not in that situation. Come on now.
I mean, because OKC should be good for years with their draft capital.
Oh my gosh! And all those dudes are young.
Yeah. So yeah, I think they would look outside
the box. I could see an outside the box hire. So, the Todd Golden thing, it really struck me when we were discussing. I've been thinking about this for a while now. Ever since we talked to Steve, it's like, what if Steve does leave? And knowing the Lakers and knowing how they want to be innovative and think outside the box, and he doesn't like the light years ahead or whatnot. People joke about that, but that will be something where it's like, hey, we know life after Steph may be a little difficult.
Right.
We're going to rebuild for a little bit, but we're going to try to reload. Why not bring in a young coach to help with that process, to deal with the youngsters, who can relate to the youngsters, who would be willing to put in the time? Not saying that Steve doesn't put in the time to develop players, but he's got a lot of other things on his plate. Right. That's what the player development staff, the Anthony Vereen's and company are there for. So Todd Golden struck me. It's like, wow, wait a minute. City ties, USF, here at Comcast Sportsnet, working as a sales director. He knows the area, knows the market, knows Dub Nation. Got a chance to sniff out Chase Center last year, the NCAA tournament. That was just a name that popped up. It's funny you sniffed that out, man. That's why you're a Hall of Famer, Monty. That's why you get paid the big bucks around here.
Before we go, roster question.
Yep.
Last summer, not in summer 24, I'm 25, summer 24, there were rumblings about the Warriors, looking at Lauri Markkanen. See what he's doing this year? 30 plus a game. 8 boards a game.
I've seen
he's
that.
7 feet tall. He would look pretty good in a Warriors uniform right now.
Him and Keontae George in Utah are lighting it up.
Keontae's playing, man. He's balling.
Keontae's balling.
Yeah.
Here's the problem I have, and it's a league-wide thing, and they know it. Dealing with Danny Ainge is like dealing with the devil.
That's what Draymond said, yeah. It is.
He said it. I'm just really, like, it's funny. I ran into Joe Lacob at a Niner Chief game last season. Joe Lacob and some other people. It's some Warrior official. Not Joe Lacob, but another Warrior official is like, man, Danny Ainge is hard to deal with.
Yes, he is.
And we know he wanted to, not only did he want those young players, Kuminga and Podziemski and Moody, he wanted your picks for the next 5 years, probably. He wants a king's ransom for Lauri Markkanen. So is that worth it to give up that king's ransom now?
He wouldn't have. I mean, he's not going to get draft picks for the next 5 years for one guy.
No doubt.
This ain't the Clippers.
Yeah, the SGA deal.
Yeah, this ain't the Clippers.
But Markkanen would fit, Monty. To your point, I wasn't high on Markkanen last year. I'm not even going to front. I was not high on him because I looked at him saying, "Man, can he stay healthy, or is it the organization's telling him, hey, sit this one out, we're tanking?" Which one is it?
Because he was in and out of the lineup. He wasn't that good last. He tailed off last year.
He tailed off big time, man.
Yeah.
I didn't see the physicality. I didn't see the hunger. Maybe he was disappointed by re-signing with the Utah Jazz. Who knows?
Yeah.
But now, watching him and Keontae George, the
dude I think he's 6th in the league in scoring. And he's still grabbing 8 rebounds a game. It didn't happen, but man, that's a great what if.
Another what if as we wrap this up. It's a Hail Mary, and it's a pipe dream.
Oh, boy.
What?
Go ahead. Oh, boy. Pipe dream.
Hail Mary. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. What is going on with the Bucks? I'm dead serious. It's a pipe dream, man. I don't even like bringing him up, but you know what? I'm monitoring that situation. I really am.
You should.
All he has to say is, I want out.
And Thanasis has to come with me.
Hey, you come here. He come to the gay house and broadcast with us. You could be our guest every night on the pregame show.
Yeah. No,
but I don't know. I think, Monty, I think organizations are getting a better feel for the new CBA.
Yep.
And I think there's going to be some movement here. There was a slow off season.
Yep.
But we may start to see some movement this season, knowing how GMs and owners and front offices are starting to get a better understanding of this new salary cap and the first and second apron. I do think we're going to see a big boy move this trade deadline.
Maybe several. Because as we filter through the league and, teams rise and fall, there will be sellers.
Yep.
There will be buyers. And if you've got a really good player on a team that's selling, you'll probably be moved.
Mm-hmm.
The Miami Heat were sellers at the deadline. They moved Jimmy. And the Warriors jumped on it. So, yeah, I do think that this season, as we get close to the deadline, I think last year there was a couple of big ones. Obviously Luka.
Yep.
But yeah, I think as we get closer to the deadline, I think that there's a good chance you'll see some movement involving some star players.
I think Ja gets moved. I could see the Miami Heat looking at Tyler Hero saying, how can we upgrade that position? They're playing some good ball right now in Miami, 9-6. What about Trae Young in Atlanta? They seem to play better without Trae Young right now. They're balling. They got a lot of size. Would Trae get moved? What's going on in Sacramento? They've got a lot of contracts, and, they're not necessarily the players that I would want, Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan at this stage, but they could be in the mix for some selling. I think there's going to be some movement here, but we'll get there, Monty. We got a long way to go.
Yep.
Long way to go. But that process could be expedited for the Golden State Warriors if they don't take care of the basketball. All right? Take care of the ball. 9-8 right now. What a
treated valuable, man. Treated valuable.
Come on, man. The ball. Yeah. That's our rock right there. Yes. Got to care for it like your 2-year-old baby. Come on now. Tighten it up, man. We'll see on Friday night against Portland. You don't want to mess around with the ball with Kamara and Drew Holiday.
No, not at all.
They'll make you pay. Hey, by the way, thanks for the mailbag questions. We're going to do this every single week. So get in your questions here on the Dubs Talk podcast. We love your questions. Some good ones out there. Didn't get to all of them, but we will get to them every single week. So go ahead and keep sending those in at Warriors at NBCS on Twitter, X, whatever the hell you call it. Dubs Talk mailbag questions. We'll get those out there. For Warriors Insider and Hall of Famer, 2-time NBA Award winner, Monte Poole. We miss you in studio. Can't wait to see you Friday. I am Bonta Hill, as always. Dubs Talk podcast, brought to you by Mancini Sleep World. Shop sleepworld.com. That is sleepworld.com. Great sale going on right now with the Black Friday sale. Save up to $1,200 on top mattress brands. Plus, for the first time ever, 14 days of deals that started on November the 14th. That means betting. Brand new limited time deals on different mattresses, recliners, sofas, pillows, the whole works, man. Everything you need to upgrade your room and home. Go to Mancini Sleep World right now. They will take care of you. Tell them Monte or Bonte sent you here on the Dub Talk podcast. All right, Monte. Good stuff, man. Warriors back home for a nice little homestand. We'll see you next time.